Hey guys, it's August 2015 and the first Chaos War Finals is on. My server is Kabam 1821. We compete in the West Coast section and so yeah, we're competing in Warlords Hall. I think our draw is pretty so-so, and in my opinion, we get a pretty tough server, Wartune 13, who I think is very strong, and I think that's because we were the lowest BR server out of the people who made it into Warlords Hall, and I think as a result, we ended up getting a very tough draw. The two top servers get a bye, and then everybody else competes to fight them, or at least that's what it says in the description. I don't know if that's actually how it turned out, but yeah. So here we go, again in a party with Robin, Shock and Awe, and Midori. We did this the last time and it worked out well. I was trying to hide my clothes and put on the most basic mount, just to see if it would help with lag. So you see everybody else in my party is also hiding their clothes. Not all of the server did that, but it's a little bit tough to coordinate everybody on a server. It's easy enough to get my guildies to agree to it, but not necessarily everybody. So here we get Charlie, and he's a very strong player, but he's on his own, and so he goes down pretty quickly. I think if he were partied up, he would be much harder to deal with, but I think maybe he rushed ahead or something happened there, maybe didn't know to party up, but I think they have some other strong people who do party together, so at least some of them know to do that. And there's Cypress talking about me, but I probably didn't notice. I was so focused on, you know, right up until the battle starts. You know, I'm thinking about the list and everything because I'm responsible for that as the top player on the server, and so I was, you know, I'm always concerned about that, and then I have to focus on the fighting. That oftentimes for things like this, I just don't notice the current chat. So this is the main fight out of this battle. Because this is their top team. Cypress is here, who's one of the top knights. He won Class Wars last month, and he's always in TOK and such. And so he's, you know, of comparable BR, maybe a little bit higher than mine, but you know, we're relatively on par. And then the rest of their team, Dark Hawk, Dark Callie, and Dark Knight, I think, I'm not totally sure what their BRs are. I don't think any of them is as high up there as Robin, but maybe comparable to Shock or a little bit higher than hers. So don't hold me to any of that. I think, you know, Darkhawk is a really good buddy of mine, and so, you know, I don't know who he would say has the advantage here. I think that our team does, just on BR alone, and maybe even resistances too. So, you know, he might not agree. I think if we had a rematch, he would say that, you know, it wouldn't always go to us, but we're also really competitive with each other, so I have no intention of losing to him either. Here I get a nice BL out, nicely timed, no chaos on me, which was nice, and then I stun Cypress, which is pretty big and important. I'm able to get into Sylph mode, and that's good because that means I can get some Sylph hits on him without him being able to do much about it. I think the stun only lasted one turn, but it was still very helpful. And of course, I think they have double sets of rings, so you know that you see some revives there for sure. Darkhawk revived at least once, well, only once, but he did revive because he's married to Cypress. Robin goes down, which was a little bit surprising to me. I think she must have taken just some bad hits from Cypress or something. It looks like Midori is dead, even though she's appears to be in Sylph mode. So just shocking myself, and I take quite a bit of damage. The very frustrating part about this, which was a nice fight, it was fun, but and we take the win, so of course I get to poke fun at Darkhawk a little bit, but what happens is our party breaks up, and so I don't even know how Shock ended up in the same fight as me here, but we're not in a party together. So I don't know why, if it has something to do with, you know, some of our players dying in that fight or something, but we get split up as a party, so we're not grouped together anymore. And that's just a little bit frustrating. It makes things take longer. You know, here it's a team that I for sure can beat alone, but it would have been easier to just wipe them out quickly with Robin. But I guess you know, Robin said that because she was dead, she went into some fight and she wasn't able to get her heal rune off or something like that, because she started with only 1 HP. But if I were there with her, maybe she, you know, maybe I would have taken the hit instead and she could have gotten her heal rune off quickly enough. So it's just a little bit annoying that they weren't in a party together. Or if they died, you know, Midori probably would have revived her with a ring. So I don't know. It's a little bit frustrating that the party broke up, but regardless, this server as a whole was very, very strong. So here, you know, I'm not partied with Shock anymore. So she's like, Elia, where are you? And I thought I got into the fight that was with her, but I didn't. And so she's in a good bit of trouble. So I think it turns out that it's just Elia versus all, or everybody that's left. And since you only have 10 minutes to wipe out the entire rest of the team, we end up losing. I think they probably had 8 or 9 players left. And so because they ended with more players than we did, it doesn't really matter that I'm alive if nobody else is. So here we have our second battle. It's against Wartune 63. So the main player from there, or the biggest player from there, is Chili Mac. We've probably seen in many of my Class Wars videos, and maybe even some Titan War videos. You know, he probably has a competitive team there as well. So we fight him here, but I think his group here is not necessarily as competitive. It's probably why they took a loss at the beginning, like we did. Just maybe does not have the high caliber support that he needs for that. So not totally sure. Strategy wise, you know, I can't move around that well. I'm lagging so bad that Robin runs around and finds all the fights for us for the most part, maybe Midori too. And she was saying that Chili was right there. We were trying to avoid Chili for a little bit and try and wipe out some of the weaker teams really quickly, because in that fight previously, we got so caught up with Cypress's team that we weren't able to take out a lot of their weaker teams, and those weaker teams were taking out a lot of our players, and that's why we lost on numbers. Turns out it doesn't really matter, because if we can't beat the top team quickly, we're pretty much screwed anyway. So yeah, so we tried out some different strategies and stuff, but regardless, there's not a whole lot we could do. This group seems to be hiding their clothes too. I think everybody is a little bit frustrated with the lag in Chaos War. You know, we have plenty of players saying, oh, this is just lag wars and whatever. I think it's sort of a fun event. You know, it's much more fast-paced than I thought it would be, and so I think in that way it's kind of fun. You know, for whatever, you know, people you see in crossover GB, and you're like, oh, what if they had that person in their guild from their server? This is the one time you get to see everybody from that server all together, so it's kind of fun that way. So this group that I have is definitely the strongest PvP group out of the people from my server, but we also have some other strong players going. So I think, you know, Late Night, Grimmeth, Katrina, and Tank are all together, and so even though they don't have a mage, they can actually PvP quite well. And so it's often that group and my own group that are left standing at the end. Also, our top knight Skoon was with my buddy Baldwin, and who did they pair up with finals? Mikey. Mikey's a decent archer. He has a nice light pet. And who was their fourth? Oh, Mordecai, who has a nice fire pet, so that's always nasty. But yeah, a lot of good players on my server. You know, we're little, and, you know, sometimes, you know, I think I underestimate us a little bit, because we are very small. We could really use a merge very badly. But for the people who are left, you know, we have a lot of really nice active players that I've really enjoyed my time with in Wartune. Here's a weaker team. Honestly, I was really glad to see some of these, because, you know, you always want to see 4 people that you can wipe out quickly, because it makes it faster. So actually, I feel like players that are lower BR and won't be able to competitively take out other teams are actually better off just being solo players. So just being single players that run around and avoid fights, because then it will take longer for them to die. If you pair up a whole bunch of weaker players that that can't collectively beat another team on the other side, then they're just going to die more quickly and make you lose more people on your team. So I didn't articulate that very well to my server, and so probably in the future I'll try and help everybody strategize a little bit more. But you know, this is the first time around. We try and do what we can, but can't always get everything right. And that's that. I mean, it was pretty much over once we beat Chili's group, but still pretty nice. So really, if you can take out the top team quickly, things move really fast. It doesn't even take, you know, the whole 10 minutes. But if the fight between the two top teams takes a long time, then things stretch out. Now we're against Kabam 30, who I think they're merged with 35 and, well, maybe just 35. But this is Killbot's server. He's probably the top player over there. I'm actually positive that he's their number one player, but they have a collection of very, very strong Kabam players. This is definitely a team, you know, we've had trouble with their guild. We've won, but you know, definitely not easily against their guilds in crossover GB. So right away we get into a fight with Danahe, Killbot, Sweets, and Byron. Byron, another very strong knight, and Danahe has, you know, been very competitive in Archer class wars, the Warlords Hall, and Sweets I think is probably a mage in Warriors Hall who does decent, but not enough to get into Warlords Hall. But even so, just a very tough team. And we completely predicted resistances wrong in this. To Killbot's credit, he actually, you know, throws in a surprise and brings Goddess of Prosperity, which is a pet I've never once seen him use. I think I've almost exclusively seen Killbot use an Electro pet. So we changed over our resistance to Electro to adjust once we saw that it was Kabam 30. And turns out that was a terrible decision because I think most of us removed some of our wind resistance to put in that Electro. Even so, I think even if we had still had our wind resistance in, this would have been a very tough fight. You know, my dark resistance is okay. It's probably like 1k. I don't have any dimensions in. So yeah, taking out all four of these is just too difficult. I don't know how the rings are situated with these guys, but I imagine that, you know, at least one pair of them are able to revive, if not both. So yeah, just really too tough, and they take us out. And once, you know, my team's dead, it's pretty much just cleanup for them, and you know, we really can't manage. So it's a bit of a wipeout. We're already down to only 12 players, 10, and they're still well over 30. So it's a very, very nice job on their part. I think I saw their server BR and was pretty high, kind of amazing for a Kabam server. I don't know how they managed to have so many people, because Kabam is just not very generous with their server merges. It's been well over a year since we had ours. But here we go, last fight, and it's against Wartune 7, and so these guys have a very competitive group, which is Johnny Walk, Kavlaw, Heffalump, and who am I missing? There should be a really Master Hermie, and so of course we get thrown into a fight with them very quickly. I think we're lucky even to just have our party together by the time we get into a fight with these guys. And Robin was saying she did a really bad job predicting these resistances because I think she took out her light resistance, and then Master Hermie had a light pet. I had my light resistance in, so I was actually doing fine against this team. But yeah, these guys are very competitive. They have placed, I think, second in Titan War, and so just below Solara and Lambeau's team, which is just very very tough. So yeah, really tough team, but we do pretty well here. I think, you know, Hef is probably falling behind a little bit. he hasn't been playing or caching the way that he used to. So I think he just shows up for these types of events. Even so, the rest of their team, particularly Johnny, has really been quite strong lately. And I think Johnny is a very tough one for us to take out. I think it's literally just him left at the end, and it takes quite a while to beat him. So yeah, Huff's still pretty sturdy, but Cav and Johnny left, which is to be expected. Gabo placed 3rd in Mage Class Wars last month. Had a really nasty bit of Dark Resistance, so she did really well. So well that she wasn't expecting it, but so that's always more fun when you exceed your own expectations. Get my butt back into Sylph mode. Do a quick heal rune. Oh, I see, I have a Chaos, which is why I'm dawdling a little bit. Ooh, that's a big Delphic from Johnny. And I have no E left. Ooh, and Shock gets a nice Guardian rune so that she's able to get that Blessed Light out. Robin and Midori are down, but as long as we win, then they'll come back. They just have to very quickly heal rune at the beginning of the next fight. Same for Shock now. There we go. Shock, Robin, Midori, and I think we all have level 9 rings. If not, I know Shock and I definitely have level 9 rings, and then between Midori and Robin, I'm not totally sure. But there you see Shock just got Chaos Rune at the start, and so she wasn't able to heal up at the beginning, and but our rings revived her. She comes back with 50 rage and 80% HP, so that's incredible. So those rings are very, very dangerous and very, very helpful. That's what we would have hoped for in that first battle against what was it, Wartune 13, and that would have been nice had our party stayed together. Then they probably could have revived or just been able to heal more easily at the beginning. But of course, it didn't work out that time. But yeah, again, since we took out their top team, things get much easier from there on out. Even so, the number of players that we have is pretty close. I think while we had that long fight, a lot of our server was getting taken out, and same for theirs. So here we're just trying to scramble around, trying to find the last of their players. That one looks like they're busy, so I try and go toward their spawn. I'm sort of glad that the field is actually quite simple. It's just a big circle, because I think there's enough chaos with 40 people on each side trying to take each other out that if you try and add on towers or anything too complicated with the field, it would just be even more of a mess. So their last 3 players end up going into a fight together, and so that was pretty fortunate for us. We were able to take them out, and that's enough for a win. So we get 1,000 Chaos Stones for each of our wins. I forgot how many we got for a loss, but definitely not as many, maybe half. And so yeah, a little congratulations around the server. It is kind of nice, you know, sometimes people can get bent out of shape about guild stuff, or there's unnecessary, you know, ill feelings around the server for, you know, whatever reason. Over a long enough time you play a game together that you find out who you like and you don't like. But to have one event where at least everybody has to sort of get along and try their best for the same purpose, I think is actually a good thing. So Wartune 2 ends up winning and taking it all, which is Lala's server, so big congratulations to them for winning the first one. Kong 7 and Kong 1 follow up in 2nd and 3rd. Kong 7, I think, merged with Kong 15, so they're like 4 or 5 Kong servers, and so they've become very, very strong recently. And then Kong 1 is, you know, Ray, Gruntar, and a Grono and a bunch of other strong players, Ariel XP, just a whole load of strong Kong players. But glad to see that. And Wartune 60 took 4th place. It was actually, we actually beat them in prelims, so a nice job to them, and good redemption on their part, even though we didn't get to fight them. So I got this Pyre Horse for 10,000, and I decided to kind of wait. I wasn't totally sure what I wanted next, but I did end up going with Elite Refinement Crystals instead, and so I'll do a video on doing some red gear refinements. Turns out that those stats are huge and that you should definitely get some Elite Refinement Crystals. Once again, I was wrong about some of the red gear information, but I will try to correct that in my next video. I can only give out so much information as I know or experience myself or get from other people. So yeah, that'll be up next, or at least by the time the Titan War is over. So I hope you guys had fun with the new event, and let me know your thoughts. Best of luck in Titan War, which is coming up. Take care, and have a very good day.